All right, we are officially live to do our Etsy shop reviews, our audits, and I am fired up because we've got a bunch to go through. A lot of you that are here live or even on the replay submitted your shop to be reviewed. And if you are watching this after the fact and you would like to submit your shop to be potentially reviewed in an upcoming review session like this right here, then go ahead and put it in the comments and we can go ahead and potentially get to that the next time that we do one of these. But I just want to say thanks so much for taking time out of your day to show up here, to hang out with us. We are going to get rocking and rolling here. We have a bunch of people that are coming in from all over the world. I just saw someone from Finland, the UK. This is awesome. So if you guys will do that, drop in the comments as well, like where you're tuning in from. And we can go ahead and see where everyone is kind of tuning in from. So that's awesome. What's up, Vicky? Yeah, that's awesome. So this is what's going to happen. All right. We are going to dig right in because I've got about 9 different shops that I'm going to be going through. Now, some of these I'm going to be spending more time on. Some of them are going to be very, very simple because I'm seeing a common thread. And really, I look at it as a mistake, but some people would say like, well, not really, because, well, you know, I could maybe sell some items, you know, in this shop, potentially. But I also look at this as like, are you doing this just to sell a handful of items, or are you looking to sell items to build a business and to make some real money? And I'm not saying like $1,000 a month isn't real money. It is, but some of the shops that I reviewed before we even got on here that I'm not going to be sharing because it's very similar to that is where they're just kind of doing what everyone else is doing. And I'll show you a few examples of that, but really, really, we need to fix that. All right. So we're going to go through those shops. We're also going to go through some shops, which I think have some really good potential. And I want to thank everyone for submitting your shop, even if it didn't get on the review table here. I did take a look at all of them. And if they were similar to other ones that I think that you'll still get lessons from, then we're just going to go ahead and kind of roll with that. All right. And if you guys have any questions, either while we're doing the reviews or after the fact, let us know. I did want to also give a quick shout out to Everbee. Everbee is awesome. The tool itself is awesome, but the team is awesome. Everyone over there. And I want to thank them for allowing us to bring this training to you on the Everbee YouTube channel as well. So what's up, YouTube Everbee people? How you doing? So I just want to say thank you to all of those guys, and thank you to the community for allowing us to come in here and do this training. So before we do jump in, Chris, did you want to maybe kind of tee it up a little bit as far as the people that are coming in, what we're going to be accomplishing, and then we can get things rolling? I think the tech is pretty much working. I see people rolling in, over 180 people.
We got a whole bunch of people rolling in from pretty much everywhere except for Antarctica, where there's more penguins than people. So I think it sounds like we're good to go. We got people coming in from Germany, from the UK, from the US, from all regions in South America and Asia, all over the world coming to hang out with us. And Scott, the one question that everybody has is, how do I get my shop reviewed? For this particular session, obviously, to be able to do this live, we needed to have them already. But if you guys let us know in the comments what your shop is, we can kind of keep them in a little file there for the next time that we do one of these. And Scott, like you said, we're not going to be able to get through all of them, but we are going to try to get through 9. That was 10. This is 9. Just to give you a little bit of a different view on some different things. And what we tried to do was find a selection of shops that cover some different areas and that aren't all doing things the same way, so that you can have the chance of seeing a variety of different examples of things being done right, things being done not as right. I'm not going to say wrong, because everybody has their own way of doing things, but things that are being done differently from what we would like to see and what tends to lead to long-term success. And so you're going to get a nice overview of a bunch of different shops, people doing things different ways. That will lead to a whole bunch of questions. And what I will ask is, any question you have along the way, make sure to drop it in the chat as soon as you have it. I can mark them, we can get to them. If we can't get to it right away, like, we're not going to necessarily stop unless it's a hyper relevant question to that specific shop. But what I will ask is, drop it in the comments right away. If it's something that needs a little bit of long form discussion, I will mark it and Scott and I can kind of chat through it at the end. Otherwise, I know I'll be in the chat. I know there's some of our friends over from Everbee in the chat helping out answer questions there as well. So drop it in there. There's no such thing as a stupid question, except for what, Scott?
Is that a stupid question?
Is this a stupid question, right? If you have the question, chances are that there's 5, 10, 15 other people hanging out with us either live or on, some future version of this that have that question. And if you are the person that's brave enough to ask it, it means you get to be the person that's responsible for getting the answer for everybody else as well, which is a kind of cool power to have. Scott, the other thing that I know a lot of people are asking is if they can't stay for the whole thing, are they going to have the ability to watch this later? Because this is on YouTube, it will live on YouTube as long as YouTube lets it live on YouTube. There's no reason that it should ever come down, but you should be able to come right back to this page and find it after we get off, watch it to your heart's content if you can't hang out with us the whole time. Although I hope that you do. I hope that you can.
Yeah, no, this is going to be a lot of fun. A lot of comments coming in and a lot of people that are sharing their shops. So yes, we will be going back and we will take a look at these as far as like taking those, putting them into a, to a document so we can go back and potentially use one of yours in the future. If you are submitting yours to be reviewed in the future, you do have to agree for us to publicly share it like we are here on this live. All right. So it is going to be public. There are other people going to be seeing it. So if you don't want your shop reviewed by other people, if you want, just to share it, but not to have, anyone else see it, but maybe me or Chris, do not submit it. Okay. Because we would be doing this publicly like we are right now. And I think there's a lot of value to being able to do these live reviews. One last thing before we jump in. If you want us to do more of these, make sure that you let us know in the comments as well. All right. Let us know. Do you want us to do more of these Etsy shop reviews / audits? Because we do enjoy doing them. And I think there's a ton of value, but we only want to do it if you think that it's something that we should do in the future. So let us know. Let us know in the comments. All right, Chris, I'm going to dig in. So we got a lot to cover here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my screen. I am going to change the view so we get a bigger thing here. And we should be able to get rocking and rolling. All right, here we go. Let me get over to this area right here. And Chris, can you see my screen? Peanut Farm Gallery.
I can indeed.
All right. Awesome. Okay, cool. So this one was submitted by Melinda. And this here is called Peanut Farm Gallery Art, Decorate Your Life. And then we have, let's see here, bringing color to your life with digital artwork. All right. So the very first thing, and you guys are going to see a common thread here. All right. A common thread that's going to keep coming up is when I come to this place right here, what am I thinking and who is this supposed to be for? So if you were to, I always say this analogy because I think it makes a lot of sense. If you were opening up a brick and mortar shop in your local town, what would the name be and who do you want to come into your store and what do you want them to buy? All right. So in this case, I'm looking at this. I'm walking up the street. I look over and I see Peanut Farm Gallery Art, Decorate Your Life. Right. I see that. And I'm like, okay, cool. It's a gallery. So maybe if I'm strolling through, I might go in there just to browse, right? Maybe it's me and my wife. My wife's like, I'm going to stop in the farm gallery, the Peanut Farm Gallery, right? Just browsing, right? But not necessarily like they're just going to go search for something. And that is where on Etsy, we have to think a little bit differently. We have to think about the person that is searching, right? So back in the old days, when we had the yellow pages, someone is looking in the yellow pages in the ads for something, right? You have to think about Etsy similar to that. If someone is searching for, in this case, let's say that it's abstract art or something like that. Okay, well, someone is searching for abstract art. So then your products would be tailored towards that, right? That particular, goal, right? Of them looking for something and then them finding that thing. So when I come here, I don't really know if this is for me or not, right? Because I come here and I go, okay, decent, I guess, banner. It's telling me it's kind of art. It's like painted strokes or whatever. And then I have this here is the logo. And then this here is the person behind the business. So I always look at this whenever I'm doing a shop audit. I'm always looking at, okay, does this make me feel like I'm in the right place if I'm looking for X? Well, I don't really know what I'm looking for because it's art, right? It's not tailored towards any one type of art. And I think that's what I would like to see all of you do if you aren't yet doing it, is ask yourself, who do I want to walk in the store and what do I want them to feel that they are receiving, right? And that they're in the right place because they walked into my whatever, my knitting shop, right? And there's all knitting stuff, right? That's what we want to think about. So this message here, bringing color to your life with digital artwork. Okay, so someone that's looking to redecorate maybe, or, you know, someone that is moving, maybe, right? But that doesn't mean that it's the right thing for Etsy. All right. So let me just kind of scroll down here. And over here, I can always get a good idea of like who you think you are targeting. So instant printable art. Do you think that someone is searching for instant printable art? Maybe, but don't you think it would be probably better if it was maybe printable abstract art or printable watercolor abstract art? Do you see where I'm going there with that? I'm trying to see, okay, where I can get the search, because we need to be thinking along the lines of search, okay? Because it's one thing to say, well, I think people will like this. I think people are searching for abstract art. Well, we want to put up items and really target the people that are searching for whatever it is they're searching for. And we want to be that end result. Now, in this case, instant printable art isn't really detailed enough for me. Okay. So I would want that to be changed. Original 5x7 art. Again, it's very, very just not original, right? It's just very generic. Okay. Original ACEO paintings. Maybe that's something, I don't know what that is, but maybe. Okay. Greeting cards, very generic. Digital bookmarks, very generic. Smartphone wallpaper, very generic, right? So maybe if it was greeting cards, it's going to be, and again, like if we're going into an art store, are we really going after greeting cards? I don't know. Like it's kind of one of those things where if you went into that shop and you were like, oh, you know, they sell abstract art and they have some cards, you know, like, I don't know that goes. Digital bookmarks, maybe, but let's just kind of scroll down here and see. Okay, so we have square abstract printable art. Okay. Smartphone wallpaper background, right? Smartphone wallpaper background. So it looks like you're going after smartphone type of stuff. Neutral modern wall art decor. Okay, I like that. That's not bad. Let's click into one of the listings and let's see what it looks like. So this is what Melinda is going after. Neutral modern wall art decor, digital download, digital art, abstract wall art, printable wall art. Okay, so I don't mind that we're going after like abstract wall art, but in this case, it looks like we're going after modern wall art. Okay, now I want to show you something. I already pulled this up here because I wanted to show you an example on how this would work. So I typed in abstract wall art. Okay. And these are all the different things that we can look for. Now, these are where we're getting a little bit more detailed. So I would want to look at this stuff here. And I would want to say, okay, well, abstract wall art metal, canvas, you're selling just the digital, just the printable. Why not put this on a canvas? Why not put this on metal? Because now what we're going to do is we're going to separate ourselves from the competition of just selling digital art. You see what I did there? So that's what we would want to do, is we want to look at that stuff. But let me show you something else. So we're looking at these results right now, and it's 2,136,510 results. And that's with ads. Okay. What I would want to do is go to all filters. I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to look at subject And then I'm going to look at all the different subjects or the sub niches. All right. So flowers, fashion, fantasy, comics, beach, tropical, let's see, horror and gothic, humorous sayings, inspirational sayings. You get the ideas. Like, look at all of these different ones. So what I feel like the shop is very generic. We need to separate it. If you're going to be an art shop, then be an art shop right now and target one niche. And if that's going after abstract art people, that's fine. But now what we need to do is we need to figure out what is going to be those sub niches that we're going to go after that also is abstract art. So if you noticed here, let me click off of this. I went into, because I started here, abstract wall art, right? And then if we look at printable's down here. Look at this, abstract wall art print. So my first thing would be, okay, we need to add prints. And my question to you would be, Melinda, is like, why aren't we offering prints yet? Is it because it's another step? It's another thing you have to do. You have to connect it to Printify or whatever you're going to use. Like, what is the reason you're not offering prints? So that's one thing that I would do, because you are in a very, very competitive space in just the printable space, printable digital art, right? And whenever you're in this type of environment, right, this saturation, we need to figure out how we are going to differentiate ourselves. And the way to do that is what I just shared with you, is going after these sub niches, but then also looking at, okay, I'm selling digital art. How can I sell these on prints or posters or canvases or pillows or blankets and all of those other things? And then that's where you can start to branch it out. Even this abstract wall art metal, like metal signs, right? So these are some things that I would be considering. Okay. If I was looking into going in the art, decoration, decor type of niche. But again, I would go after things like, for example, boho, right? Boho would be another sub niche, but then I would go after maybe boho Western, maybe boho Western kitchen, boho Western bathroom art decor, right? And then you can add printable, or you can do digital, or I'm sorry, you can do printables, you can do pod, you can do all of those other things, canvases, posters, all of the things that we just talked about. So I think this is a great example of, okay, you've identified where you want to create products or what niche you want to create products in, but it's very, very much like everyone else, right? And I actually just did a video that'll be airing, I think, in about a week and a half, which talks about this, because so many people are getting into the digital art because of the AI, right? Because now you can create digital art. It's super easy to do. And now you're going to have so much more competition. Thousands of people are going to be coming in selling digital art. How are you going to separate yourself? So I think the shop, as far as like, it's good as far as like, it's a base, but now what we need to do is we need to refine who we are targeting and what types of products we're offering. And I think we need to get more detailed and more granular over here with the products that we're offering in those different categories. So that would be my take here on this one. And that is my recommendations on the Peanut Farm Gallery Art Decorate Your Life. Chris, have anything you want to add to that?
Okay, so the very first thing, Scott, is the last point that you were making, which is, how do we differentiate ourselves if we are making digital art, which, no offense to artists, but can be very closely copied, right? Intimated, I guess is the word that I was looking for. You can make a very close approximation. That's what I'm trying to say. With something like Midjourney in 5 minutes, and all we're doing is putting up a digital file for somebody to download. What is the benefit to buying yours for, and for whatever reason, Scott, your Etsy is in Australian dollars, for 13 Australian dollars versus my same digital download for $3? And the answer is nothing, except maybe I find yours first. And the way that we can get around that is by diversifying beyond just digital. The big push that you're seeing right now for people using AI is people that don't really want to take that extra step. And if you, because it doesn't seem like you're using AI just based on your shop announcement, you said they're handmade by me, right? You're creating all of these designs. So if you take the extra 5 minutes to say, okay, this really cool abstract art piece, I can put this on a pillow. I can make this a printed version, right? I can put this on a canvas because not everybody wants to download the file, walk down to their local frame shop, or then just go to another place online that does print to canvas to get it printed on a canvas. If we can expand our product offerings with the existing designs that you're making to include some print on demand products that market would be interested in. And if they're already looking for abstract wall art, which is most of what you have now, chances are they're into abstract design in general. And so they would be interested in that same type of a print on a pillow, on a throw, in other formats, including in the printed format. And if we're able to offer that, which you can do very easily by connecting up to Printify or any of the other print on demand providers, add in those additional products, not only does that give us more lines in the water, but it also helps protect us against the people who are just going to throw it up for $1 because it took them all of 5 minutes to make the digital version of it. And they don't want to take the extra step to create those other things. The other thing it does is it expands out the existing audience. If I am looking for abstract wall art for my blank white walls in my office here, I'm not going to buy a digital download that I then have to go take to a print shop or a frame store or somewhere else to get it done. I'd rather you just ship me the canvas. So if we limit ourselves to only the printable items, we cut out a whole section of the market that is our ideal customer. And we don't have to do that. The historical reason that people would do that is because they don't want to have to deal with stretching canvas, but you don't have to worry about that. You can connect the store to Printify or any of the other print on demand providers and let the canvas stretching experts do that for you and just focus on creating the high quality designs. The other thing that does, Scott, is it increases sales and profit margins, right?
Yep.
If we're charging $13 for the digital version, and let's just say it costs us $10 to get the canvas done, right, and shipped to the customer, we could charge $40 or $50 for that. Because if I buy that digital download, I have to download it. I then have to go to the frame shop who is going to then charge me $40, $50, $60, $70 to get that put onto a canvas. We can make more money by including those products and actually save the customer who is going to do that money along the way by undercutting what a local shop would charge to do that and charging more than what it would cost us to do that without having to really do any of the work ourselves other than the occasional check-in to make sure that the shipment is sent. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Here's what I want to do real quick. I want to address this question from Renee. But if you're inspired by more than just abstract art, you're saying to open another shop with a different style? No. What I'm saying is you are a digital art shop, but you're going to have these different categories that's who you're targeting. Now, would it be better if you were able to go like into a bigger sub niche? Abstract art is pretty big. Modern, then minimalist, like all of those different things, those can all be added in there. You're just now separating yourself out. And this way here, you are going to be able to serve all these sub niches, but you're also targeting, okay, these different sub niches. So no, you do not have to. I would not say to do that because if that's what you're going to be is a digital art style type shop, then no, I would say just categorize them and just, again, it's like if someone walked into an art shop, you could say like, oh, what are you looking for? And you're like, oh, I'm looking for abstract art. You're like, that's over there, right? Oh, I'm looking for boho style. Oh, it's over there, right? It's the same idea. It's not like you're walking into a fishing shop and you go, do you have any abstract art? And they're like, no, we don't sell that here. We just sell bass fishing gear, right? That would be different, right? So that would be, what I would do there. So no, you do not have to do that. And then Kate asks, why is AI going to make printable art more saturated? Just like Chris said, because it's super easy to do and people are just going to start slapping up printable art. That's why. You know what I mean? It's like makes it easy, right? Everyone can do it. Is it going to be the same? No, but there's more listings now for Etsy to categorize and to index. And now all of a sudden, if you just put in abstract digital printable art, there's going to be a lot more competition. But if you went after a certain sub niche that was digital art, it's going to be less competitive, right? So that's why, because AI is just making it super easy. Now, like Chris said, if you're just doing digital art and you have AI, right? AI is creating the digital art and all you're selling is the printable. Well, what if you took it up a notch and said, I'm going to offer this on printed items, right? I'm going to print this on items for people. right? And various items, not even just canvases, but other different things. Now you've taken yourself out of the competition once again, because now you're doing something that other people aren't going to do. Why? Because it's more work. That's why. And they don't want to do it. Slap up digital products, let the AI do the generation and submit it, and you're done, right? But it's also probably not going to last that long. It's kind of like riding that trend, right?
To clarify, when we're talking about AI, we mean artificial intelligence, something like Midjourney, not
Yes.
Adobe Illustrator, right?
Yeah.
So like Adobe Illustrator, yeah, that actually did help saturate digital art, but not in the
Yeah.
same way that tools like Midjourney could do, right? And because, especially with something like abstract art, where it's abstract, like literally in the definition of the word, it doesn't have to look photoreal. And so it's really easy for a program like Midjourney to create abstract art, because in a lot of cases, you know, again, no knock on abstract art, but it's like a handful of colors mixed together, right? Like in a different format. It's not an apple, or it's not one of those things where it has to be hyper realistic looking. And so AI has already gotten really good at that. The question then becomes, how do we avoid that in our niche? And the answer is, we're not going to outcompete them in terms of number of designs that we can launch. It's how we interconnect those things. And somebody, Scott, in the comments said, this makes perfect sense. I bought a digital download and my local frame shop, it cost me $50 to get it printed, right? And so if we can offer a canvas of that same print for $30 or $40, we not only have made more money ourselves, but we've also helped that end customer save money, which is something that will help us stand apart from the people who are just sitting down in front of Midjourney all day and trying to put as many listings onto Etsy as they possibly can, which, yes, is a thing. And Scott, somebody had said Printify is really expensive early on, and it's not, because you just have to price it accordingly, right? It doesn't matter if you're using Printify, Gelato, whatever.
Doesn't matter.
Even if it's your very first sale. First of all, there's no cost until you sell the item, right? It's print on demand. And so you just have to price it accordingly. And if you're not on something, what is it? Printify Pro, is that what they call it? Their subscription plan where you save up to 20% on everything. Even if you're not on that, you know what the cost of the goods is, and you have a pretty good idea of what shipping is, and you just have to build that into the price. So your only cost is the cost of printing that plus the cost of shipping. Anything above that, because you've already created the design and you're already selling it as a digital file, anything above that is pure profit for you. And so as long as it's not costing you through Printify, and I can pull up the pricing here and look, I can guarantee you, because I've had canvases printed by Printify, that it will not cost you $75 to have a basic canvas print done through Printify. And even if it did, then you just list it at 100. And if nobody buys it, nobody buys it. But you still have that as the option for someone like me, or for Team Marie, who it costs an arm and a leg. Yeah, I have a really cool JPEG now, but I can't do anything with it because I have to take it to a print shop. It just, that diversification can make a big difference.
All right, cool. One last quick question I'm just going to address, and then we're going to move on because we got a lot to cover here still. And this one here is, I've heard an extremely small percentage of buyers actually visit your shop, like 10%. So how important is it really to have products and brand info that matches if buyers are looking for a specific product, not a shop? That's a great point that you bring up. Okay, number one, my question to you or anyone in this situation, or in this, with this question, would be, are you just launching products and just hoping that you get a few sales here and a few sales here, and you just want that one-off sale? Or are you wanting to build a business that people could walk in? Imagine someone walking into your shop and then they're able to buy more than just that one item. So we see this a lot. And actually there's some shops I'm going to share with you guys that it's like, you walk into a general store and it's like, I might buy that one bass fishing shirt, but I'm not going to buy, the abstract art over here. Right. So I just lost out, because if I would have had more stuff for the bass fishermen that walked through my door, I'd be able to make more money without having to make more sales. So that's one reason. Now, to your point, well, does it really matter on the brand thing? Yeah, to me it does, because I'm going to be building this into a brand. So I'm going to be building an email list that I can follow up with my customers and with people that are interested in this niche. So that's the other thing. When I send someone over to my shop, because that's what I'm going to do in an email, I'm going to send them to my shop. I want them to walk into my shop and go, oh, I'm home. Here I am. This is it, right? So that's another reason. Second thing is Etsy will definitely look at your shop and start to see that you are catering towards that particular person or that particular audience. So in this case, let's say it's for the wedding niche, right? And you sell a whole bunch of different wedding things. Well, do you think that they're going to look at your account that season that's all about weddings? Do you think that they're going to maybe rank your stuff higher? Or maybe they're going to see that you get more sales than everyone else because you have products that are all related to each other. So to me, it helps everything when you are on brand. Okay. Now, does that mean you can't launch a shop with the general store approach and make sales? Absolutely you can, because they do independently kind of stand on their own. Okay. But what we're saying is by having that cohesiveness, it helps in the customer experience where you're going to up your value of your orders, which is great, right? You're able to build a brand with your own audience, email, right? So we can drive external sales, right? And Etsy is going to look at that and go, oh, this shop is seasoned. It's all about serving the wedding niche. We're going to, when they put out new listings, we're going to give them a little bit of a lift because we know that they sell in the wedding niche, and then they're targeting that customer. So that's kind of how I look at that.
Yeah. So one of the SEO things, and if you guys missed our full explanation of how Etsy SEO works, you may want to go watch that live that we did. That was the last live session that we did in conjunction with Everbee. But one of the things Etsy considers is what they call your shop score. So how well your shop performs.
Yep.
Who are the people? Let's just say it is 10% of people, right? Or 5% of people. Who are the people that are visiting the shop? And to me, they fall into two groups here, Scott. One would be repeat customers. If I bought from you in the past and I like your abstract art, I'm going to go to your shop before I just go back to Etsy. And this happens all the time, right? Once you've bought from somebody, you're substantially more likely to buy from them again. And if I go back in and I see the only thing that I bought from you is the only thing in that abstract art category and everything else is bass fishing related, you've just lost that sale, right? If you don't have anything else that somebody who just bought from you can buy because it doesn't make any sense, then you're going to lose that follow-up sale, which can be a huge portion of recurring revenue for people. The other big group of people, Scott, that end up visiting the shop are people who don't find exactly what they want with Etsy search. So let's say, let's pull that example back up and we say, okay, we came in and the first canvas that was there was like a blue gray type of a thing. That shows up at the top of the Etsy search results. I go, this is really cool. I want to click on this and see if it's what I want. And then I get into the listing and say, okay, this is kind of the style that I'm looking for, but it's not the exact, I want something that's got some red through it. Instead of going back through the Etsy search, what I'm going to do and what a lot of customers will do is they will go into your store because they're saying, okay, it's this, but slightly different. And if I go into most stores, I can find 4 or 5 versions of my water bottle. And if I don't like the black one, maybe they have a blue one, or maybe they have the black one with a slightly different thing. I'm not going to leave that store to go to the Walmart down the street to see if they have the blue version of the water bottle. I'm first going to look at that store. And so if the things that people see when they come to the store don't jive with what they're already thinking about, then you're also going to lose that person. And so the people who are coming to the store actually are the people who you need to be the clearest with about what it is that you sell. Does that make sense?
Yep. And again, like we can go on for days with this because I'm a big believer in it. Does it mean that you have to build a cohesive brand? No. But to me, it's like if you were to take Etsy then out of the equation, what are you building a business, or are you just building an Etsy shop and building your business on Etsy? Like, is that all that you want to do? We're not a believer in that. We believe that it should be external. We should be able to build a brand that has repeat customers and has people coming back, or we can send them new products that we release and things like that. It just makes it easier. But again, if all you want to do is just throw up an Etsy shop and throw in some random stuff, you can do it. You might get some sales, but then you'll probably get someone else who comes in, knocks it off, and then you're looking for the next kind of trendy product. All right, let's move on to the next one here. We got to move a little quicker here, Chris, because that was a long little segment there. We've got a bunch to do here. So let me go ahead and add this. Let me go ahead and move that over. All right, here we go. So this is Stone Family Jewelry, love beyond words, made to order. Let's see here. Jewelry, blankets, metal signs, and more. All right. So they are a family jewelry store. Okay. That's kind of my first thing here. We've got a few pictures up in here. We've got some necklaces. We've got some art here. It looks like some metal art. We've got a cat. We've got this. Okay. So the very first thing I think is when I think of family jewelry is I'm thinking jewelry, right? Now you have made to order jewelry, blankets. So now we have blankets in there. We have metal signs, but it's jewelry. So my thought is you probably started as jewelry and then saw that you wanted to offer other things, and then you offered them under the Stone Family Jewelry brand. You can. I personally would drop the jewelry, personally, because if I went in here again, if I'm going into a jewelry store, am I going to go in there and then see metal signs on the wall that I can buy and things like that? So it's a little confusing. I know we just talked about it. Well, how many people actually see that? But if someone goes to your listing and they see Stone Family Jewelry, they might be like, what is this person doing? Just throwing up some other stuff. It's not related to jewelry, right? So that would be my first thing. And Adam, I want to thank you. I believe it was you that submitted your shop. Sometimes it's husband and wife or whatever. But Adam, just want to say thank you. Okay, so I'm going to look at this here for the announcement section. Welcome to Stone Family Jewelry. Here you'll find unique and beautiful Mother's Day jewelry. Order by May 7th. Now, first off, Mother's Day's over. We need to update this. If I came here and I read this, I'd be like, oh, they kind of left this up. Are they taking care of everything? Are they taking care of their customers? Are they, paying attention to their shop? So anytime that you do something in the announcement like this, you want to make sure that if you're putting dates and stuff in there or something that's, time sensitive, you want to make sure that you clean that up. I personally would rather the announcement section be more about the story of who's behind the shop and who it's for. Like to me, that's your welcome message. It's almost like I came to your shop and I walk through the door and that's the first thing that I'm greeted with. I'm greeted with this and I'm greeted with that. You can put a discount in here, but I wouldn't make that my first thing. All right. So let's just keep going here. Custom woven blankets, stunning metal art, and captivating TV art digital downloads. So now we're into digital downloads. We're into captivating TV art. Whether you're looking for a statement piece to elevate your style or thoughtful gift for a loved one, I have something for everyone. Browse my collection. So again, it looks like you're trying to put some of these other items that you're seeing that other people are selling and they're being successful at. You want to kind of put it under this Stone Family Jewelry. That's why, again, it's never too late either. You can always change the name. I would probably drop the jewelry myself, and I'd put something else in there or just come up with a completely new name. Now, here's something that I did notice. I'm going to bring to your attention, Adam, and I'm going to bring to everyone else's attention. Once again, I see Stone Family, okay, family, keyword there, family, jewelry. And then I see some metal signs. Okay. I see personalized Father's Day sign. I see a metal monogram, like all of this stuff. Okay. See all that. See this here. Okay. A little F-bomb metal sign. Uh-oh. Family. Remember F-bomb, talking families, right? So I got that. And then I got pole dancers. Okay. So I'm asking myself, why am I in a family shop and I have pole dancers? So imagine we just walked into your shop. And again, I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just being real. I told you guys when we did this, like, we're going to be honest. We're going to be totally like real with you guys. If I walk into Stone Family Jewelry and on the back wall, I see pole dancer signs. Am I really, should I see that? Should my kids see that? They're like, Daddy, what's that? What's that girl doing on the pole? Chris, I'm going to stop there. What do you think where we are so far?
Well, the first thing before the pole dancing stuff came up, the first thing that stuck out to me, and Adam, it may just be something you want to take a look at. One of the metal signs you have is an F-bomb. Yeah. That may be a trademark violation. You may want to look, because there are two companies that use F-bomb. There is the F-bomb Nut Butter Company, which is dropinfbomb.com. But then there's also F-bomb Clothing. And so just double check. They do look fairly similar to both of their logos, because obviously, like, there's only so far you can go with the word F-bomb and like the letter F and a bomb. But that may be something that you want to take a look at. The thing that really stood out to me, Scott, other than the mismatch of products, would be if we're calling this Stone family jewelry rather than like Stone family crafts or stone, like stone crafts makes me think of like wood or like wood, like you're going to make stuff out of stone. So, you know, we need another word in there like family. It does feel weird, really weird to me to go beyond jewelry and to do metal things. And I know, Adam, I don't know if you're, well, I guess it's not because it's Herrera. But you know, if your name is Stone and it's the Stone family, then that's one thing. But when I hear Stone family jewelry, I'm thinking like jewelry stones, like precious stones, Scott, and then family jewelry, like things for generations. Yeah. Right. So handcrafted rings, like things that you're going to get from your grandmother to give to you on your wedding day. Right. Like some of those kinds of things, like jewelry that you can pass down. So what I would take a look at here is, can we just change this name entirely to something that is more fitting with handmade crafts, which is really what you're looking at, right? Metal signs. There is some jewelry in here, something like that, and pick a theme and pick a market. And so if we are going after family, right, and it would be family crafts or like something like that, right? That's okay, but then we do have to be careful with the F-bomb, the pole dancing, like some of those kinds of things. Yeah, because you do get the vibe when you see the name of the store that it is designed for a family. And as we scroll down here, right, like the Ziegler Z, that's awesome. The Joe Shop thing, that's pretty cool. Not necessarily family related, but that's kind of the vibe I get. But most of the rest of these do make sense in some sort of like a family craft shop, if that makes sense, until we get down to here, where we're into like Harry Potter and pole dancing and some of those kinds of things. And again, like the easy way to get around this would be to be a metal sign store. And then you could have all of these things in here and it wouldn't feel as weird. But if we're going to talk about jewelry, we're going to talk about family, we do want to be careful with those themes because it will turn off a huge portion of people that are coming looking for those two things.
Yeah, well, and I would say this too, like, again, this goes for anyone, right? Think about this for a second. If someone bought this, what else in your shop would they want to buy if they were at the checkout line, right? So they got here, personalized Father's Day sign for dad. What else in your shop? Well, maybe one of the pole dancing things, right? Maybe, right? But, you know.
That's a fun Father's Day.
That's funny. But you see where I'm going, right? Like there's nothing else here that I would put into my cart, right? So I always want to think along the lines of like, how can I increase the value of the cart? So again, it looks like we're trying to go after products that have sold well for others, or maybe it's Father's Day coming up or Mother's Day coming up or a holiday coming up, and you're going to try to get in on that rush. That's fine. If you are, let's say that you were targeting a specific niche, let's say it was RVers, right? That are, you know, traveling, right? Well, you could create a metal sign for them. And then you can also create Christmas ornaments for them, or you can create something for Mother's Day for her, even though it doesn't have to say Mother's Day, it's still a gift for her for the RV, right? You see where I'm going. So we want to start thinking about like, okay, even though Mother's Day is coming up, how can you create something for Mother's Day to take advantage of that traffic, but yet how it pertains to your niche? So here I'm just looking at, it's very generic as far as this stuff. So it's just metal monogram wall hanging. So this is for someone that's looking for a metal monogram wall hanging sign, right? For their door or whatever. Now this one here is more personalized Father's Day gift for a garage. Well, again, maybe it is, maybe this is going to serve the person that is into cars and, man cave and that type of stuff. So that's what I see here on the surface. Again, it's a little bit all over the place for products. It does look like you have 45 sales, so that's good. And then just here, I'm looking at over here, like, again, like I said earlier, like this stuff it's pretty generic stuff. I would want it to be more specific. And once again, we have mom gift necklaces, wife gift necklaces. That's fine. Wedding gift necklaces, soulmate, daughter gift, right? All this stuff. And then we go down here and then we have this stuff. That seems like off to me. So that's my thoughts on your shop. I think it's great that, number one, everyone that we're reviewing and anyone that's already created a shop, thumbs up to you, because you did what a lot of people aren't doing. They're just in the research stage and they're not they're not actually pulling the trigger yet. They're not actually doing the work, and they're not actually putting stuff up. The good news is a lot of this stuff is kind of fixable. Even this shop, even though it's already been built and it's already kind of started to go in a direction, it's very easy to kind of just rebrand it, package it up differently, and then start going after certain niches or sub niches, like we talked about in the first example.
Yeah, and Adam said all of this stuff is print on demand, and I started with the jewelry and didn't really start making any sales until I started adding some of the other stuff in. So the question would then be, what is the other stuff that you are selling, and how do we then craft, pun intended, the name of the shop and the experience of the shop to more closely fit the stuff that you are selling, and then double, triple, quintuple down on those things. And Adam, like, you have the perfect last name to have like a metal work shop. And guess what? Metal work includes jewelry, right? Like your last name literally translates to like metal worker, right? So you could simply take that and make it like metal family crafts, or like metal crafting, like something like that. And then everything that you sell just has to have a tie back into the made from metal side of this. Or you can go into like, you know, the metal man cave type of thing, and be able to do that as well. But the question would be, what is selling for you out of all of the stuff that you have in here? What is selling? And then how can we turn that into a central theme that we can expand on? And so that would be what I would looking at. If the jewelry is the stuff that's selling the worst, then we definitely need to change the name of this and refocus on the thing that is working, as long as you're passionate about it.
Okay, we're going to move on. I did want to address this one real quick. It's a quick little question that came in. Again, if you guys have questions, drop them in. We'll try to get to as many of them as we can, whether it's during or after. This one here was, how specific should your category titles be? For example, is women's t-shirt too generic? And I would say, yes, it is. Again, if you are serving a niche, whatever that niche is, then it's going to be whatever, you know, again, I'm using bass fishing. That's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head, but it'd be like bass fishing shirt, right? Like bass fishing t-shirt, right? It would be that, because we want to get that keyword in there as well. And we also want it to be, really tailored towards the shop, right? So again, if it was like, Adam had some good ones there. I think he had one here, let's see, let me scroll down. Like, even this, mom gift necklaces, right? That's good, because it's mom is who the target's for. The gift is just what people are searching for, mom gift, and then necklaces, right? Or wedding gift necklaces, right? So wedding, you're going after the wedding market. Gift, we know that that's a good keyword, wedding gift. And then necklaces is the item, right, that people are also searching for. Soulmate, right? Soulmate gift necklaces. So wedding gift necklaces, wife gift necklaces. You see how he did that here? So Adam, in this case, if you were going after necklaces, this is exactly how we would want to see that being done. So I like that. All right, Chris, let's move on to the next one.
One other thing, while you're pulling that up, and just go ahead and make that swap while we are doing that. We had a bunch of people asking, I didn't know, or saying, I didn't know you could change your name. Etsy will allow you by default to change the shop name up to 5 times. And then after that, you can still change it. You just have to ask them for permission. But chances are, like, if you started with something super generic and you change it once, that's probably where you're going to stay. But they do allow up to 5 name changes. And even if you've exceeded that limit, because you just hate what you're doing now and you want to keep the same shop, you just have to ask their customer support. And as long as you have a legitimate reason, like, I'm not selling jewelry anymore, so I need to change my name, they'll go ahead and approve that change for you.
Okay, so here we are. And is it Miley? Miley James Designs? Is that how you would, is it Miley or Maley? Maley James Designs. Designs from the mountains of North Carolina. All right, cool. 4 sales. That's awesome. I'll be in the garage, and then life is full of important choices. All right. So here's what I want to say. The very first thing is I would like to know how many shops have designs as part of their name. I think we need to change that. And I'm not just saying you, I'm just saying in general, because number one, no one is really looking for designs. Everyone now is a design shop, right? Everyone is, a designer, right? Everyone has designs. I think it needs to be different because, again, everyone is doing it. I need it to be more specific, right? I want it to be, like we said, it's like you walk into the shop and you know you're in the right place, right? Maybe it's great outdoors fun or outdoor fun or something like that, right? You know that it's going to be outdoor stuff, right? It doesn't have to be great outdoor designs, right? But everyone thinks because they put designs in there, it's going to help them, and people, that's what they're looking for. I personally, and if you're ever using your name, I think it's fine, but is that necessarily the best name for the brand, right? And I just like people to think about, like, your Etsy shop is really, it should be anyway, it should be thought of as a brand. All right. How are you going to be able to create a brand? So you have this brand focus, and then you have these sub niches kind of that come off there. So it's like almost like a hub and spoke, where you're going to be able to have all these other sub niches off of it. All right. So that's my first thing. I think it's a great looking logo. I do. But it seems like, again, we're just going to be a design company. So let's move on. So these are the featured items. And once again, it's weird. I don't know why it did this. It went over to, let's go here. Let's change this over to United States and go. All right.
Are you on a VPN or something?
No. Okay. So here we are. These are the featured items. Stay Wild Moonchild t-shirt. So probably going after Moonchild, right? Because that's a pretty popular one. Cottage core shirt. Cottage is obviously something. Mama with Flowers t-shirt. Mommy, mom, bruh t-shirt. All right. So first off, it looks like you are basically right now a t-shirt company, right? Like it looks like you're selling t-shirts for the most part, right? So when people ask me, they go, well, is selling t-shirts a niche? And the answer is no, it's not. You're basically a t-shirt company that is selling in hundreds of niches. And so my question to you and anyone else that's doing this is like, what else is that customer going to buy, right? So someone comes in, they buy this shirt. What else are they going to buy, right? What else are they going to buy, or could they buy from your shop? Pickleball. Okay.
I found what Scott would buy from your store.
Yeah. I can't, what's it say? I have to play pickleball.
I can't. I have pickleball.
I have pickleball. Right. Okay. So trying to pick up on a trend, it looks like, right? Pickleball is trending. Here's a pickleball, a couple rackets. Here's a couple rackets. Girl dad. My fishing buddy calls me grandpa. Like, so these are all cute. They're funny. But my question is, are you building a brand, or are you building just a t-shirt company? And if you are building a t-shirt company, I'm here to tell you that it is very, very competitive. There's a lot of t-shirt companies out there, and you're basically just trying to create a design, put it on a t-shirt that maybe someone hasn't done yet. And what's going to happen is you might get one that hits, and then all of a sudden people come in and copy you. But if you create stuff specifically for a niche, then you're able to now do what we said before, where you're able to now sell more to that one customer. And if there was one thing that I could get people to really understand and really grasp, is the idea of selling more to the same customer, right? Selling more to the same customer. Because if someone bought this shirt right here, my fishing buddy calls me grandpa, you really don't know who's buying that. It could be the grandmother, it could be the mother, it could be the father, right? And so you're like, okay, they bought that. If that person was on my email list, what would I send them? Would I send them beers are the new six pack? Probably not. Would I send them fast food? I fix stuff. Awesome. Like my daughters, like respect the beard. Like these are funny. It's almost like a novelty shop, but there's so many novelty shops. And why are people doing this? Because it's the easiest path. At least that's how I see it. Right. So I think what you've done is great, because you have, obviously it looks like you got design down, right? It looks like you got the design stuff down. That's awesome. But now how can you take this and apply it to serving a broader niche. And then from there, going and niching down. Right. Like I said, there was an example I shared in a video I did a little while back where it was like, okay, go into a very, very hot market and popular and saturated market like weddings, but then niche it down to where you're only creating shirts right now for the bachelorettes, right? The bachelorette parties, right? Like people are doing that right now, right? And, or maybe it is going to be for the little girl and the little boy for the flower boy and girl, right? Maybe it's something there, or maybe it's for the bride and groom and their dog, right? Like something that incorporates that. Like you're going to now go after that market versus right now, you're just going after all kinds of markets. So it's kind of all over the place. And if you've ever been which all of us probably have been to a place like Myrtle Beach or, a tourist place or like a, I don't know, a vacationing spot, right? Like that, you're going to see these kind of stores all up and down, and you walk in, you see the same shirts in everybody's shop, just hundreds and hundreds of different types of shirts. I don't necessarily think that's a great business plan or a good brand move. So I'm not going to spend much time on this because my first thing would be, who are you targeting? And then once you establish that, start creating product for that person, and then create more products for that person, and then create more products for that person. That's what I would probably do. Chris, anything you want to add to that?
Niche down, right? If we can keep the same customers coming back to the store, it saves us a heck of a lot of time, energy, and effort in marketing our stuff, right? The typical number you hear thrown around, Scott, is it costs 5 to 7 times more to acquire a new customer than it does to sell another product to an existing customer. Nowhere is that more applicable than somewhere like Etsy, right? If you bring somebody in, and Scott, one of the categories that's on here is like girl dad or something like that, right? And there were a whole bunch of things that fall into that category. Well, if you buy your dad a girl dad t-shirt this year for Father's Day or for his birthday or whatever, right? Or just to poke fun at him on a random Thursday, then the next time you're looking for something in that vein, chances are they're going to come back to Melee Designs to look for something. And if you only have one of those things, or they have to dig through 900 pickleball t-shirts to find the other thing, they're just going to go to the Etsy search results and buy from a random store, and you're going to lose out on that sale without spending money on marketing and doing all of those other things. So you want to go after happy repeat buyers. And the only way to do that is to pick one vein. And quite honestly, Billy, I think there's 4 or 5 really solid niches that are in your shop right now. The question would be, and I know there's only a handful of sales that have come through here so far, but the question would be, is there one that's a real standout that you're passionate about? Or are all 4 of those sales coming in on one of those markets? If that's the case, then let's double, triple down on that right now. And then if we want to go into cottage core design, we could create a separate shop that has just cottage core stuff. Scott, the other thing really fast on this is people think that niching down makes it harder to come up with product ideas. And I'm actually on the polar opposite extreme for that.
Yeah, me too.
Because if we focus on like daddy daughter stuff, or my best friend's actually my little buddy, right? Like dad and son stuff, then that little bit of restriction on our design capability makes us think about all of the deep connection pieces that dads and sons or dads and daughters or whoever the market is have. And it actually lets us sell more to that niche because we're tapping onto not just the surface level things that we might find if we go to Etsy and type in dad and son t-shirt. We have to think a little bit more deeply about that. And it actually helps us come up with ideas that sell better than what you just see at the surface level.
Yep. Yeah. No, and I think it was Billy that submitted this. I think it's a great start, but I think now you have to narrow it down. And I would look at my name. Like, again, I think everyone is putting designs in their name. So there's more design shops out there every single day, right? So I would like to break that cycle and be different and create something that stood for the brand that I'm building. So just think about it. If you were going to open up a brick and mortar shop right now, like locally, like what would it be? And who would you want to walk through the front door? Like, that's kind of how I look at it. And sometimes that helps. All right, let's move on. All right, here we are. Amanda Creates Digital Designs. There we are again. And I did this on purpose. Now, it's not in the name, but it kind of is, right? So when you come here, it's Amanda Creates Digital Designs. All right. first off, I just discussed the designs thing. Again, this is a perfect example. Another shop with designs as their thing, right? I don't see a picture here, so I would like to see a smiling face here. And that goes for any of you. If you're watching this, have a smiling face here, okay? And have it be the name of whoever is running the shop. So here it's Amanda. Maybe it's Amanda, right? Not Anna Joe 23, right? Like, so you want that to be a face. This looks like incomplete. If you'd like custom designs, create your mascot and your school colors, just send me your message and I'll be happy to create for you. Okay. I'd like this to be like who you are. Once again, this ties into this. Now, this is a no-no. There's some stuff in here that could technically get your account shut down. And here we are in Australia again. So we got to change this. I don't know why that did that. I think because I opened them all up, I guess it must have just defaulted. Cardinals, trademark. Yeah,
Bulldogs.
There's a lot of trademark stuff in here. Bulldogs, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that
University
there's a lot of
of
different
Georgia.
Bulldogs out there, but Bulldogs is probably trademarked. Eagles is definitely. Chris, do you think Eagles is trademarked?
Well, I'm not even looking at the words. I'm looking at the design and the color scheme, right? So that would be, I think, University of Georgia, right? Or Southern Georgia. One of the Georgia universities is the Bulldogs in that red and black. That upper left there, vintage Eagles discount or distressed mascot. That the Philadelphia sports fans would love to buy that. The Philadelphia sports teams would not be so keen to know that you are selling that. Right. So the word Eagles is not trademarked, but the design of that is.
Yeah. This one here, Cardinals, trademark. Like, yeah. So this stuff right here, and again, I think someone had said it. Look at Panthers. Wow. Yeah. You have to understand that, and this is where, just thinking through it, even if you don't know if something is trademarked, you have to ask yourself this. There's a brand out there, let's say Panthers, right? A football brand, an organization. Would they be okay? Would they be cool with you creating images of their, not even their logo, but their colors, where a Panthers fan would misinterpret that as their product? That's the confusion part. And we all know NFL, NBA, like all the sports teams, all are licensed. Like you have to get licenses to sell that stuff. So even though Etsy's allowing this, which is crazy to me that Etsy doesn't have a filter built in that basically would just flag this and say, no, you can't sell that. It would make life a lot easier, but we have to do it ourselves. Now, if you run on Everbee, there's a new beta feature that they have built in that will scan your account and look for trademark potential products. So you might want to run that. But I would say without even running it, this here is going to be a no-no. So I'm not going to really go more into this shop. I really just wanted to show it to really say, if anyone is putting trademark stuff up there and trying to capitalize off of that stuff, it's a no-no, even though you might be doing it right now, but you could actually get your account shut down and probably banned for life. So I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't even take the risk. And I would say, like, people that say, well, I see people selling Disney stuff all the time. Yeah, Disney just went after a bunch of Etsy sellers and sued them. There's a lawsuit going on right now. Just because you haven't gotten caught or other people are doing it does not mean it is okay. So let me just kind of leave it at that. 755 sales is pretty awesome, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of those are probably from trademarked items. So I would make sure that I would redirect and kind of reposition my brand, and I would take down that stuff that is trademarked. I'd be very, very careful with that. Anything you want to add to that, Chris, before we move on?
Yeah, I think the exception, I think that they fall into here is it doesn't appear that they're going after like the pro sports teams. They're really going after like the high school Panthers softball mom, right, type of a thing. But a lot of high schools have their version of that logo trademarked as well. And so, like, I know for a fact my high school has merch that they sell in the local grocery stores and stuff. Like, if you guys are from the US and you've ever heard of Giant, right? Like, Giant works with local high schools to bring in merch from those high schools. And as part of that agreement, they went through the trademark process, right? So even if you're not stepping on the NFL trademark, you're likely stepping on somebody's high school trademark. Even if you're selling Panthers in purple and not in the blue and black, there's probably a high school somewhere that has that as a trademark. So you may want to run that through the Everbee trademark monitor, but your better route there is just to avoid anything that is trying to closely replicate a professional or college level sports team, and just avoid it entirely.
Yep. 100%. All right, cool. Let's move on. Let's see. We've got another one here. This one here, Ree and Rob, personalized gift printed and shipped in USA. All right. Now, once again, I got to switch this. Darn it. Why? All right. Let's see. No, not Canada. Here we go. I like Canada. Don't get me wrong. All right, here we go. Little Kids Boutique custom gifts. Okay. So normally, number one, I love the branding here. I love the little, I guess, rainbow-ish kind of thing. And then I like the font style. It really gives me that kid feel. So I walked by the shop. I saw that sign. I saw the logo, and I said, that's a kid's shop, right? It's personalized gifts, but it's for kids, printed and shipped in the USA. So, okay, cool. Got some good little images here. And I like these little, it's probably created in Canva, but these little, these little circles, but they're not 100% circles. It looks kiddish and all that stuff. And then we've got the different blankets on there. So I really, really do like this. And I think anyone that is creating a shop or wants to really make their shop tell people who it's for is to do something like this, where you're putting some images of the products and then having the logo or just the message of who you're serving. So let's kind of look at the announcement here. Our products are individually printed and labeled and are not an afterthought. No washing away, no peeling, labels and printed into the fabric along with a pattern. Okay, so I don't know that all of this stuff is necessary. I think what's necessary is, Samantha, I want to hear more about you. Why did you decide to create this shop, right? Like, why are you passionate about creating really nice products for, the children, and the kids and the babies, and like, what made you want to do it? And, you might say, well, I want to make money. Well, I know, but why did you pick this? There's got to be something here. You probably have kids, or maybe people that have kids. You like to create sweet things that people are going to enjoy, and it's going to bring a smile to their face. Like, what is the reason why you started this shop? And this announcement area is where I like to see that little short message, because it brings personality in. What I like to think about, and I'm going to go back to it once again, is someone's walking by, they see this, they walk in, or maybe they were looking in the area for people that sell baby blankets, right? And then they said, oh, I'm going to go to Ree and Rob. And then they go, okay. So they go there, they walk into your shop, they get this feel, you greet them, hi, I'm Samantha. And then you basically tell a little bit about you and a little bit about your shop and who it serves and why you created it. So this here is really, really important to do that. So all of this I love it that you're right in the face of it, or as far as like the branding, because this kind of represents like a mom, kids, like it just gives me that whole feel. So I like all of that. Let's kind of go through some of these here. So here we have personalizable farmyard lamp for kids. Okay. Mushrooms cup with straw, personalized. Let's see, custom camping notebook, custom. So again, it's okay. This is a perfect example. I want to bring this up. So this is not a camping shop, but it's a kid shop. And what do kids do with their parents? Sometimes they go camping. Parents probably want them to maybe take notes of their experiences or their thoughts and their memories and they want them journaling. So when they get older, they can look and see what they've done. Well, if we look at this right here, it's Mason, right? That's the book. It's personalized. And now Mason has its own book. So they can go ahead and take that on their camping trip. So see, they kind of tapped into the camping niche, but they're not in the camping niche. This is a perfect example of how you would do that.
It's funny that that's where you went with that, Scott, because I was thinking like summer camp, right? They want their kids to take notes at summer camp. And so they're not, this is not a camping notebook. This is a notebook for taking notes or like writing, like journaling, creating a diary at summer camp, right? Is kind of how I read this. Now, a camping notebook to me would be something potentially different. The theme is camping and it's a notebook for kids. But that's just a small tweak that I would make to that.
It does say here, camping gift for kid. Custom camping notebook. Custom notebook, kids, personalized journal. So it could be for either. So it does look like they went after camping. And it's got all the fire and camping stuff. So it could be used for either or.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, I like that. That was a great example. And then here we are, construction trucks, wall art for nursery. So that makes sense, right? Like if someone came in here, they were looking for wall art for a nursery. Here we are again, right? We talked about the art shop. Well, this has art in it, but that's not all they sell, right? They sell art for the nursery. They also sell blankets for the nursery and rainbow books and another little notebook and a little glass and a little light. Right. So someone could come in here. This is perfect. They could buy this. They could buy this and they could buy this. All of these that one customer would want to buy. Why? Decorating the nursery, blanket for the nursery, lamp for the nursery. Okay.
Well, and Scott, if you notice, and this is a trick that we use a lot, but if you look at that blanket, you look at that lamp, you look at the rainbow lunchbox, right? That's the same base design applied to different products. Why do we do that? One, because it lets us help people find the thing that they want with that design on it. And two, if you're building a theme like a nursery, don't you think it would be nice to have a blanket and a lamp and whatever that goes together? The answer is yes. And if we offer those things to people, then there's the chance that they add both the blanket and the lamp to the thing. And if their kid's really into rainbows and they buy the rainbow notebook, then they're also probably going to buy the rainbow lunchbox so that, Katarina can take her favorite rainbow things to school with her.
Yeah. And I mean, look at this here too. We got a little storage box, right? For the kids' room. So, and like you said, it's the same design. So that's a great example of that. And then down here, okay, so now we have more. So this here is, to me, this is a model shop that I would like others to kind of take note of, because this is exactly what we're talking about. So I think it was Samantha that submitted this. Samantha, this is a great shop. I really, really like it. And it looks like you're definitely on the right track. The only thing I would do different here is over on this side, I would make this more of, well, let's see. Maybe it's going to be nursery room accessories or nursery room decor, right? Or stuff like that. And then you would put that stuff under there, because lamps, very, very generic. Floor pillows, generic, right? It's not just a floor pillow. It's a floor pillow for a nursery, right? It's lamps for a nursery, right? It's all of those things. And as you can tell, it's live because my dogs are going ballistic right now. Chris, take it over while I calm the dogs down.
So, Scott, we had somebody asking in the comments, and a couple different people commented. They were asking us why we're using the announcement as more of an about us when there's like the about the seller, I think it's called My Story section. And the answer is because it's a giant pain in the butt for anybody to actually find the My Story section. And literally anyone that comes to your shop is forced to see the announcement. And so the way that we like to think about the announcement, and I think, Scott, you would agree, you've been using the example of like a retail store, but have you ever gone into one of those restaurants and you sit down and the waitress says, have you ever dined with us before?
Yes.
And you say no. And then they give you the whole story about like what the restaurant is about.
Yep.
Right. That's really what we're doing here. So in this case, right, somebody's walking into Rhea and Rob, and what we want to say is, hey, I'm Samantha. How are you doing today? I'm doing great. Have you ever shopped with us before? No. Okay. So rather than going into like our labels don't peel off, it's why the store exists.
Mm-hmm.
And as people are scrolling down, they're going to catch that. And if they resonate with that, then they keep scrolling. If they don't resonate with that, or they see that your announcement is from 6 months ago because you were talking about Mother's Day or whatever, then that's a potential scroll stopper, having a way for them to go back. But the only time anybody would ever see the My Story section is they'd have to either get to like the very bottom of the listing, or I think they can click on the profile, and there's another way to get in there doing that. But everybody's going to see the announcement at the top. So if we use that real estate more as a way of reinforcing who we are and why we exist, that's a great way to keep people engaged and create a deeper relationship with potential customers.
Yeah. And so I scroll down here to owner Samantha, and says, mom of two, graphic designer, marketing professional, always on the hunt for the cute but functional, consistent Etsy star seller in an apparel shop. I think that's okay. I don't think we need to add a whole bunch of the other stuff in there, like graphic designer, marketing professional. Like, I don't think we need that. I need more about the mom, right? And I need why you created the shop and who you want to serve, and bringing a smile to other parents, and creating, cohesive, nursery decor or whatever it is, right? Like, I would build that out more. I like that. And here it is, I guess even a little bit more. Okay. So here's more of your story, right? So I like this. So I would add more of this to the announcement. And I think Samantha is in the comments, and she had said, well, everything is on track and everything, but how do I start to get some sales? It's a great question. So here's what I'm noticing right off the bat. Number one, I don't see any sales. Okay. And I mean like a sale price. Like, this is
you mean nothing on sale.
Exactly. So $54.49. Well, I know that doesn't cost $54.49. Probably doesn't even cost $15, maybe $20. I don't think so, but let's just say it was. We have a lot of room here. So I would want to see these all on sale. Now, the digital art, that's a little bit different because, it's not that expensive. $4. If you did 20% off, it's not going to be all that much. So you might want to just make these where their normal price is $8, and then you just reduce them by 50%, something like that. Because who's to say, like, there is no hard cost here. So whatever the cost that you make it is what it is, right? So if you want to make $4, then make it $8 and give 50% off, and then you're at $4. There's just something psychological, and I do believe that that Etsy gives a little bit more love on the sales stuff. Also, if you're not yet running Etsy ads, I would start running Etsy ads, even if it's like $2-3 a day, but I would not run them until I was running some sales. That would be my recommendation. And I wouldn't run it on everything. I would do an inventory as far as like, what are the most popular and in-demand items that you have in your shop? And then I would start to market those. I wouldn't advertise the digital art stuff. Maybe these. Maybe the blankets, maybe something a little bit more expensive. And that blanket is very inexpensive. So you might need to bump your price up on that, then run a discount on that. So that would be my recommendation there. You're also in a very, very good niche, because you could also do something that we've done in the past, and we still do it. We just actually finished one up, is do a giveaway. So you could take, like, maybe it's those 3 items. Maybe it's like one of your digital wall arts. Maybe it's a blanket, the lamp, and maybe one of these, right? And you add all those 3 together, or 4. Maybe it's just these 3. Maybe it's this, and this. It's a physical item. Figure out what your hard cost is. And it's probably going to be under $75. And then I would take and I would create a giveaway, and I would promote that on Facebook. I'd run Facebook ads, maybe $5 a day, and do that for a couple of weeks. And I'd build awareness, and I'd also start driving people to my shop while I'm giving a chance for people to win that, or one person to win that. So that would be my recommendation there. Then you're building an email list of moms that potentially would want to buy this or future products. So that's what I would do there. Anything you want to add to that, Chris, before we move on?
We just had somebody say, did you just say we should wait to run Etsy ads before we get our first sale? And the answer is no. He meant when he would put a sale on the store. So an Etsy promotion on the store, a price discount, and then turn ads on. There's not really a reason to wait. I think in terms of getting your first sale, if everything is looking right, we have to just go through the basic conversion rate process, right? Which listings are getting impressions? If they're getting impressions, how many are they getting? Keeping in mind typical Etsy conversion rate somewhere between 3 and 5%. on average, right? Some listings will be higher. So if we've only gotten 5 impressions, there's no reason to think that we should get a sale. But if we're up into the couple hundred views on a listing and we're not getting a sale, then we have to look at why people wouldn't be buying. And usually it's because either we're not giving them enough of a visual with the images, or we're not correctly describing the product on the listing side of things. And once we button that up, then it's just a matter of getting another group of people into that listing, and you'll start to see those conversions come through. But realistically, once you've gone through the process that Scott was just talking about, I would start with the Etsy promotion and turning on Etsy ads, and then start worrying about, the giveaway, everything else.
But Etsy ads is the first thing because it's the easiest, and you can just run your promotion and start running the sale price, and then just start running the Etsy ads. Like you can do that like within the next 2 hours, right?
And if you're getting people adding stuff to a cart or favoriting items and you haven't gotten a sale yet, just simply turning on the promotion will have Etsy notify those people that there's a discount, and that will likely lead to your first few sales of those items.
Yep. All right, cool. Let's move on. We got a couple more here to do. Let's see. All right, here we are. The curated tea and goods. All right. So this here is a t-shirt shop, right? We talked about that. T-shirts, goods, and gifts that bring you and loved ones joy. All right. I like that message. But once again, I have a feeling we're kind of going to be all over the place. Okay. So we are going after, it looks like this must be like, isn't that like, is it tarot card type stuff in that? I gotta get this here. I gotta switch this. Let's see. Okay. And it's Aaron. Okay. So, before I get to that, let me just, this here, I think the banner is great, right? It says what it is. Not saying that I think this is great, but I think the way that it's laid out, we're showing product. Yeah. And Mama Bear, I can see, you don't see faces, but you see it being worn. I like that. There is no announcement. I would put an announcement in there. We do have a picture. I'd make this picture a little bit closer. I want to see the face better. And then here we don't have anything really in the categories. So I would want to build out the categories, but what do we build the categories out with? That leads me to where I'd already started. So I don't know if dry bones come to life. This might be like tarot. I don't know. Okay, here it is. Let's see. Dry bones, skeleton t-shirt, faith shirt, skeleton shirt, Christian shirt, scripture. Okay. So maybe going after faith, religion, scripture. I don't know how that is, but okay. So then we have that. We have this here, one Rad Mama shirt, Rad Mama shirt, super Rad Mom. Then we have Fighting for One of 8 shirt. Then we have here Maltese dog shirt. Then we have here a 5th grader, 4th grader, a 2nd grader, a 1st grader. So I'm not going to spend too much time here because I think you guys know by now what I'm going to say. It's a t-shirt shop that's basically going after all different t-shirts, right? If you were going to go after one, let's say that it is going after this here, and maybe it is the style of this, and it is going to be Christian, which, yeah, this is, I don't know. I maybe have to do a little research on that. I don't know what that is. But let's say that that was what you're going to go after. Well, you're going to go after then faith-based, Christian-based, that type of stuff. And you're going to start with t-shirts, but I wouldn't only sell t-shirts. I would sell all of the other things that this design could be printed on. This design could be printed on a blanket. It could be printed on a pillow. It could be printed on a poster. It could be printed on a canvas. It could be printed on a whole bunch of different things. So this is another example of, here we are, killer guard dog. So we're in, pet space now. This one here is all panic, no disco shirt. So yeah, I think that me personally, my advice would be, just like I said before, we need to figure out what market, what niche you're going to be serving, and then go after that market. And I'm not sure that I would call it the curated tee, because then it limits me to only tees. Any thoughts on that, Chris?
Yeah, first thing would just be the naming, right? We don't want to ever just sell one product type if we can avoid it. That's why Scott and I are fans of the niche based approach, just like we saw in the last shop, Scott. We can take that one design, apply it to a bunch of different products. Maybe somebody doesn't resonate with the t-shirt, but they really want the all panic no disco pillow, or their all panic no disco ball, right? Whatever that is. If we're able to offer that same design in multiple different variations of product type, that helps us get more sales from the existing people, right? And like we had mentioned a few minutes ago, one of the reasons somebody might come to your shop is because they really like the design or they really like the product, but it's not exactly what they want. They're then going to visit the shop page to see if you have that variation of it. And if you don't, then they're going to go try to look for it somewhere else. Other than that, if we can find a niche, that's always the way that we want to go, rather than just putting out whatever we think is going to sell.
Yep. All right, cool. So I'm going to move on. I told you that, guys, that one was going to be a little bit quicker. I think your design work is good. So again, like some people think like, oh, I wasted all this time. No, not really. You learned a ton. And now you just have to apply it to like building a brand. And again, these are just our recommendations. This doesn't mean that you can't keep doing this. If you want to keep doing this, if you have fun just creating random designs and random niches, then keep doing it if you want to. It just might not be the best strategy for creating, a brand that can continually build on itself and build out a customer base and have orders that become larger and all of those things that we just talked about. So that's what I would say there. But thanks for submitting that, Aaron, and good job so far as getting this far, which is pretty good. All right. Another one. This is going to be quick because it's very similar to what we just looked at. It's quirky but epic apparel and such that expresses humor and hope. So, okay. So at least in this case, let's see, Daniel is saying that he is going after humor and hope. So there's two different things that he is going after. Still, to me, it's novelty, right? It's like a novelty type of shop because I'm just seeing mugs, t-shirts, beef and cake, right? Like it's kind of a little bit all over the place. I like your moves, chess, right? Well, let me change my little thing here. Let's see. Not that it really matters, but 382 sales. So that's pretty good. And then over here we have funny mugs, funny shirts. All of these things are okay, but it's not as detailed as I would like to see it. Funny shirts is pretty generic, right? Let's see. Yeah, it just seems a little bit all over the place. And once again, everything that we just kind of talked about with the last shop, and I think one or two before that, is where it's just kind of all over the place. And Billy Joel sweatshirt, I wouldn't do that. That seems like that could be trademarked. Anytime you're putting in like Billy Joel, like that's a celebrity. Yeah, I'd be careful. This one here, TV show, I don't know. It might be trademarked. I'd be careful.
Yeah, psych is a fairly common thing that we see on Etsy, right? Like you are the Sean of my Gus, you are the Gus of my Sean type stuff. You see that all over the place. There, because it's not on the air anymore, they don't strictly enforce it. But something like American Duos, which is an episode, Scott, of the show where they make fun of American Idol, they could come after you for that. Now, the people behind that show tend to not really care, but that would be kind of an exception in this world. So anything that is related to TV, pop culture, any of those kinds of things, you do want to be okay with. Just using the quote, like you are the Gus to my Sean, that's okay because that's not directly from the show and only people who watch the show would really get it. But with any of the other stuff, you do want to be careful because it is potentially a trademark violation. And if they were so inclined, they could come after you for it.
Yeah, and here we are in our announcement. We all need more laughter and encouragement at Quirky but Epic. We aim for designs that lighten the heart. We also have custom designs. And I think that's a great message. I just think that it's a hard model because you're competing with everyone else that's doing this, right? It's just the only thing that's different is if you create a design that is 100% different that takes off, right? And then you're going to have everybody else copy it. So to me, it's like, how can you differentiate? And it's by really serving like that one niche, or at least starting there and then broadening out. So that would be, I mean, banner is good as far as it's showing what is, what is being offered. Right. But I personally think that, again, it's like what we just looked at before. It's like just everyone is kind of doing the same thing, right? Just with a little bit of a different spin. So
Now,
why
Scott,
are they
we
going to
get the
buy from your shop versus the one down the street, right?
we get the question all the time about whether humor is a niche or not. And I would generally say that anything that's an idea, like humor, quirky, sarcasm, that's not a niche. People might say that they are very sarcastic, but they wouldn't say, like, they're not passionate about sarcasm, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you can't have things that are humorous be a niche. So like the beefcake thing, right? So maybe it's like a big guy shop, like a big guy joke shop, right? I'm more cake than beef. And you only sell things in XXXL or whatever, right? Like that's a way of making this still resonate with who you are as a person, like somebody who likes to be humorous, but you have to pick like one area to focus that on. And if you can do that, then you get the repeat customer side of this versus somebody going, oh, this is cool. Let's walk into Spencer's Gifts for 5 minutes and then never buy anything. Right. That's kind of the vibe that I get from everybody that says that they want to have like a humor, quirky type of a shop. It's kind of like walking into Spencer's Gifts. You're going to go there just to see what they have, but the chances of you ever actually buying anything there are very, very slim.
Right. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next one. Coffee with bunnies, wall art, printables, shenanigans. Okay. Coffee with bunnies. Let's see here. Okay. Welcome to the new shop. If you see any bunnies you like over at, and then it has Instagram, then let me know in the messages and I can set up the file for it. So it sounds like Eric must have an Instagram account that he is driving traffic over to Etsy, which is good. But again, like, let's take a look and see. Obviously, these are like all AI generated. So we are going after nursery wall art. Let's see. Nursery. So these are just different animals. And say hello to Vinny, Richard. So I guess I'm not quite sure on this one as far as who is this targeting? Who is so maybe if someone is searching for, well, let's see here. If someone is searching for this right here, what would it be? Wall art print features an adorable basset hound and coffee lover. So the only thing I can think of is, because this doesn't even seem like it's going after keywords, is that maybe you have an audience and you're building these for people in your audience, and then they would come over here and buy them. That's the only thing I can think of, because nothing in that title really, other than basset hound, but wall art print. Yeah, I don't think that right now, from what I'm seeing, there's anything where people can actually find what you're selling. Like, this would be different if it was like, maybe this was something that would be put up in a maybe like a pool room. And I mean pool, like shooting pool, right? Like maybe it's this basset hound right here, right, in a pool room. And then there was a funny saying that went over top of it. But then it's like, who are you serving, right? Like who is the customer? Chris, what's your thoughts on this? Like, I guess I don't even know really where I would go with this. Like, other than I don't know who I'm targeting.
The thing that this looks like to me, Scott, are you familiar with what an NFT is?
Yeah.
So this to me feels like a group of NFTs. Like, it'd be like the Coffee with Bunny NFT collection. But unless you know what this is, there's not a way to find this in the Etsy ecosystem, right? Because nobody, unless they're following you on Instagram actively, they don't know who Sip is. They don't know who Astro is. They don't know who Lulu is. They don't know who Sunny is. They don't know who Jeffrey, which, by the way, I think I need to get me a Jeffrey. They don't know who any of these characters are. And to get them to know who the art characters are and to get them to care about that is not something that's really doable inside of the Etsy ecosystem. So if we're using Etsy to do this, like if your goal is to simply drive traffic from Instagram to Etsy to have them buy because they like Jeffrey, then that's fine. But we have to know that we're not, like, if we're using this as our e-commerce store, that's okay. It's a much more expensive way of doing e-commerce than setting up like a Shopify or something like that, right? Where you could take a slightly bigger percentage of the profits. But we just have to be conscious that we're going to miss out on the search traffic of this. Rather than calling it midnight, we could flip this to be, a wall print of adorable black chow chow, right? And then it's at least searchable. And yes, those keywords are technically in the title, whatever. But if somebody sees this in the search results and they go, oh, okay, I have no idea what that is. It looks like a cartoon chow chow. That's not what I'm looking for. Then they're not going to click on it anyway. And so I would get rid of it. If what you're looking for is Etsy organic search and you're trying to get traffic and sales from within the Etsy ecosystem, then we need to, at the very least, start flipping the titles so that people know what it's about rather than going for the name of the character whom they don't know. Yep. I don't think there's anything wrong with creating adorable animal art, and these are cool. Like these are really cool. Yeah. And like I said, there's a handful of these that I really like, but how would people find them and why would people care is the question that we come back to. And I think it's fine if you're trying to do the Instagram strategy where like people are just seeing that they're adorable on Instagram. You have a big Instagram following. Yeah. And I should probably pull it up, Scott. What is it just Coffee with Bunnies on Instagram?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Let's see.
Yes, he's got 2,200 followers on Instagram. So it's not nothing, right? And looking at the comments, we're seeing people saying, "Oh, what a cutie, amazing, whatever." But the question is, how often does that translate into sales? And I think we're seeing 30 or 40 sales here. And so what we have to think about is transitioning this from being the artist, which I think, Eric, you fall more on the artist side of the spectrum than on the merchant side of the spectrum, just given how you're setting this up. And we have to think more as the person selling this. And to do that, we have to think about who the buyer is and how they would find this stuff. And even with 2,000 followers on Instagram, the number of people coming to Etsy and typing in Coffee with Bunnies or clicking on the link in your link tree in your Instagram bio is going to be very minimal. Now, if you had 200,000 people on Instagram, it might be a different story and we could use this. Yeah. And Scott, you shot a video recently where you had an example of somebody who was just including a link on their Etsy store in their YouTube description, right? And driving a ton of traffic and sales that way. Yeah. But that has to do with audience size and passion. Yep. And the Coffee with Bunny things is really cute. And you might build a small following there, but it's not something that people necessarily are going to be raving about in the short term. So we have to flip that on its head and worry less about the cohesiveness of the like branding and the art side of this, and more about the how are people going to find it side of this.
Yeah, 100%. So I think it's cool designs, but like Chris, you said, it kind of comes back to like, who are you targeting? Like, we have to start thinking along the lines of like search. Okay. And when someone is searching for something on Etsy, you want to fill the search. And so the way I look at it is, even if I was starting from scratch, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to search it up on Etsy. I'm going to run Everbee. I'm going to look at the numbers. I'm going to see what kind of sales are running through these searches and these products that are selling. And I'm going to see if it's something that potentially has demand. And then that's when I would make the decision to start building out the brand, right? With products that are related to each other. So that way people can buy more than just one thing. So that's kind of like what we would do. So I think a lot of the shops that we looked at today are just missing finding the search traffic that they are going to get in front of. So you have to always kind of start where, okay, you have an idea, but now I have to validate the idea to see if there's actually people searching for what I want to offer. And if not, then you have to find an angle, like I shared with you guys earlier, like find an angle in that niche, or get yourself, exposure in that niche by going after sub niches, right? Like I showed you guys in the very beginning, like going through those filters. and then running Everbee, and then kind of looking at those numbers to see, okay, is there demand? Because if there's not demand and we don't have products that people are searching for, it's going to be really hard to make sales, really hard. All right. So we have to establish that. So that's been a common thread. All right, Chris, we are going to answer some questions. Before we get into the questions, I did want to bring this up because obviously you guys are here, you're watching this, and you may need help finding that niche of yours. And we've got something special that we want to share with you guys. And that is this. If you are not yet using Everbee, you should be. Okay. So you should be using that tool. Everbee has a special offer for their annual plan that they will actually discount it. All right. So you're technically getting like 4 months free. And we've put together a pretty sweet bonus where we taught a niche validation, exactly what we were just talking about. Like, we give examples, and actually over the shoulder for 90 minutes, we taught a class showing exactly how to find a niche and then how to validate the niche. And we show several examples. We're giving that 90-minute training away for free for anyone that signs up through our link at brandcreators.com/90. And you sign up for the annual plan. Number one, you're going to save money. Number two, it's a great tool. And number three, you're going to get that advanced training of us showing you how to niche down and also how to validate your niche. All right. So if you're interested in that, definitely make sure that you go to brandcreators.com/90 and select the annual package. And then from there, you will automatically be sent that training, and you'll get a year of Everbee. Where it's unlimited as far as like what you're going to be able to use it for. I'm on the growth plan. That's what you would be upgrading to. The growth plan allows me to look at all of the data, and it doesn't limit me to how many searches I can do per month. So it's really, really powerful, and I use it every single day, not even exaggerating. All right, Chris, let's get into some questions. You're muted.
Very first thing, and I know it's going to come up, is first, I just boomered that. Second, we have a bunch of people asking if they can switch if they already have Everbee, like if they're on any of the other plans, the free plans, whatever. And the answer is yes. You should still be able to go over there and get the annual growth plan discount. If you already have that and you don't automatically get a notification about the bonus, just let Everbee support know, and they'll hook you up with the bonus when you switch to their annual growth plan. I have a bunch of questions starred, Scott, but before we get into that, is there anything else that you wanted to jump into before I get into the ever-growing queue of questions that we have?
Yeah, no, let's do a rapid fire here. I know we've been on for a while. I mean, we're approaching, we're approaching 90 minutes right now. So if we can go, actually, we're over 90 minutes. So if we can go ahead and do a rapid round here. And then also, guys, do us a favor. If you're watching this on YouTube, smash that like button or the heart or whatever it is now on YouTube. I forget. And let us know also, what was your biggest takeaway in the comments? Let us know what was one of your biggest takeaways from these live reviews. And also let us know if you'd like us to do more of these in the future. And if we didn't get to yours, we still may do it on our next one. But if you want yours, make sure that you submit it in the comments, and we may actually do it on an upcoming Etsy shop audit/review. So definitely do that. And yes, I did see that come through again. If someone said that I just signed up this morning, can I still get this offer? Yeah, just message support, and Everbee is in the chat right now. Natalie is, I believe, and she can go ahead and get you squared away. So you'll just send a support email in saying that you just signed up and you wanted to get the bonus. They'll know it, and then they'll go ahead and give you the bonus training that we gave with this exclusive bonus. So, all right, cool. Let's go ahead. Little rapid fire here, Chris.
T. Marie, my problem is I get a ton of views, but people don't buy. What can I do to get them to buy? First time here. Sorry if it's a stupid question. Rule number one of asking a question, the only stupid question is this a stupid question, right? Anything that comes after that is not a stupid question, because if you have it, other people do as well. Here's the problem. You have a ton of views. You're not getting anybody to buy. What's the issue? The issue is they're not finding what they need once they get to the listing. You got past the first stage, right? They are on your listing now, which means you won at the search results section, whether it was from a paid ad or just from the organic search results. Now they're trying to make the purchase decision. They cannot pick up your water bottle. They cannot flip it over. They cannot open it up. They need to know that this is an all metal water bottle with a silicone straw, all of those kinds of things. We need to give them as many angles, as many variations on what they can get out of the product so that they can feel like they have picked it up, flipped it over, looked inside of it, even if they can't do that physically. What my suggestion would be is if you have something like Growth Plan from Everbee, you can take a look at the other listings that are your biggest competitors and see what their conversion rates are. What you're then going to do is take a look at the highest converting listings and see what they are doing that you are not. And if you go back and watch the last live that we did with Everbee, we talked all about search engine optimization. We talked about listing optimization. And we found a listing, Scott, that had, what was it? It was the eyelets, right? It was talking all about how many eyelets the hat had. No one has ever bought a hat based on the number of eyelets. The other listing that was converting much, much better was telling you what the hat was made of, right? All of those kinds of things. So what you're going to do is take a look at your product description, take a look at your photos. That's usually the main thing. And then see what your competitors are doing and go from there. Is there anything you wanted to add to that, Scott?
No, I think you nailed it.
Isn't the About Me section for telling about the seller? The announcement area is about the information for the shop itself. We did talk about this. We like to use the announcement section to give people that good first impression. It doesn't have to be a pure copy and paste of what you have in the About Me section, but you do want them to know what the shop is about. The announcement is actually a better place to do that because it's something that everybody has to see when they come into your shop. Question about Etsy ads. If you run ads and you get more views but not sales, does it not hurt your shop because your conversion rates have dropped significantly? Doesn't Etsy flag you as a bad shop? So first of all, an individual listing will not have that big of an impact on your shop score. As a whole, listings for the most part are rated on their own. There is a little bit of love given to the overall store, right? If they know that you are likely to sell and it's the first time your listing has ever entered the search results, but your other stuff always sells, they give you a little bit of a boost there. But here's the deal. If you're getting lots of clicks and not getting sales, you're in that same situation that T. Marie is in. It's not that your listing is broken or that people don't like your product. You have to figure out why they aren't buying once they get to your listing. And if you're running ads or getting traffic from search and people aren't buying, you have to figure out what the problem is. It's not that Etsy is going to punish your listing. It's that you are punishing yourself by not giving customers what they need. And so that to me is not a negative sign. If I'm getting lots of people clicking through from the search results, then I need to figure out why they aren't buying. If you're running ads, the very first thing to look at is what is the keyword they are clicking on? And is it relevant to your listing at all? And as we talked about in that SEO live, right? Etsy will go a lot broader with ads than they will with organic search because anything that's even remotely related to the word water bottle, if you are paying for it, they're willing to show you for. And so if you realize that you're coming up for whatever the word water bottle is in German, somebody let me know in the comments, and no one is buying it, then you simply turn that off on the ads. If all of the keywords you have that people are clicking on and bringing traffic into your listing are relevant, then you have a listing problem and you need to address it, whether or not you're running ads, right? Whether they're coming from organic search or ads, doesn't matter at that point. We need to figure out why people aren't buying. And if we can do that, then that conversion rate turns around. And then our organic ranking gets better because we're selling more, we're converting more, we're selling more, we're converting more. And it just happens to work out for us. Scott, was there anything you wanted to add on that one?
Nope. Let's keep the train rolling here.
All right. Scott, one for you. Can you be successful with an apparel and goods shop geared towards moms with the right SEO, unique designs, etc.? I feel like the market is so saturated, but that's who I want to target.
If that's who you want to target and that's who you enjoy creating products for, then create products for that market and just go all in. Like it's a very big market, right? It's very saturated, but then it just comes down to how do you create designs and maybe even sayings, a certain style, a certain look, certain colors. Like how do you create something that is unique? And to me, I would go all in on that then. Then I would also start thinking to myself, how do I build an audience of moms that I can talk to on a regular basis? And this might be a Facebook page, a Facebook group. It could be a YouTube channel. It could be anything where you're not just selling your products, you're connecting with moms. right? And that's something that we didn't talk about, but that's something huge that if you have the passion for the market you're in, then you should build an audience. And that audience could be also, if you don't want to show up on camera or whatever, it could be build an email list of like weekly tips for moms, right? And then you're able to send out an email every week. And guess what? You also get to mention your products. So yes, I would say go all in on that niche because that's what you're passionate about.
The next question is kind of right along this lines, right? Is print on demand still a good way to make income on Etsy? There's so many other print on demand sellers selling the exact same thing in their store. Do customers want that same cookie cutter product? The answer is no, customers don't want that same cookie cutter product. But if you use the niche based approach rather than the product based approach, you're able to go beyond the surface level, which is what most of the people selling, 5,000 t-shirt designs are doing. They're just going to Etsy looking for a t-shirt design and then creating their own version of it. When you really start to get to know the niche, you not only understand the words, the phrases, all of those things that they use, but you get below that surface level and you're able to create that deeper connection. It also allows you to sell other product types. So you're not just a t-shirt store, and you can do what we did 2 or 3 examples back, right? And you can take that same exact design and apply it to a product line that might bring people in from a different area. So it absolutely is still a good way of making income. You just have to use the right approach from the beginning. And you never want to be the person that is competing on price. You want to be the person that is marketing to a niche. And Scott, you and I have talked in the past about one of the things that we do is we price our products to meet a certain threshold of profit, which means the t-shirts that we sell are substantially more expensive than Bob's t-shirt mill. We're not worried about the random people looking for a fishing t-shirt, but we know that if someone has bought from us in the past or they're buying other fishing related stuff from us, that they see the t-shirt, they like the t-shirt, they're willing to pay $20, $25 for that t-shirt inside of the shop. We might not get that on the organic search side of things, but we also don't want to lose money on that sale. So we're going to price it somewhere where it's comfortable for us. And because we're using the niche-based approach, people are okay paying a little bit more because they've already bought from us, they already trust us, and they found exactly what they're looking for. They don't need to go price shopping. Price is only one small consideration that most buyers have. And if you're competing on the price game, there's always going to be somebody who can compete at a lower price than you can. Just ask Kmart how that worked out for them. What about product names in local languages? Let's say I put both English and Polish name of a product. What are your thoughts on this? So the answer would be write for who the product is for. Etsy does automatic translation to the language of the user. And if you noticed, as Scott was going through and changing his country and changing the currency, the one thing he was not changing was he was not changing from British English to American English in the listings. But Etsy, because for whatever reason they thought he was in Australia and they were showing him prices in Australian dollars, assumed that he spelled color with a U. And we saw that a few different times. And what they will do is they'll just go in and automatically translate those. Now, there is a small SEO boost if you include manual translations. So Ruslan, if you speak Polish and you want to go in and put a Polish translation into your listing, you can do that, but you don't put that stuff in the main listing. So you can put it in the translation section as a manual translation of that listing, but I would stick to one language in the main product description. And Scott, the example we had, and I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago that somebody was asking us, they said, hey, I'm from French Canada. Do I need to put both French and English in the listing? And the answer would be, I probably wouldn't do that, even in that case, because then you're cutting out the American audience who doesn't speak French and gets very confused by French words. And so I would keep those things as separate as possible, use the translation function and go from there. The other follow-up we always get to that, Scott, is, hey, I'm selling in Canada and the US. What currency do I put it in? And the answer is always create your listings in the currency you are being paid in. If you guys didn't notice, it was putting Scott's prices in Australian dollars because it thought he was in Australia. Etsy will handle that. It will go to the user side of the account and display in their local currency, the currency they are paying in. It will then pay you in your local currency. If you live, let's say, in Europe and you put your listings in US dollars, but Etsy is paying you out in euros, they actually charge you a fee to transfer from USD to euros. If your listing is priced in euros and someone from America buys your listing in US dollars, but you've priced it in euros, there's no fee. So always price it in that local currency. That's something, Scott, I see people get caught up if they're selling internationally with that all the time. So that's something I wanted to point out there. One last question that I had here, and then if you've seen any other ones come in, just let me know. When dialing down my listings to become a niche shop, should I get rid of my existing listings that don't fit that niche, or should I just shove them into one category of other stuff I've done?
Yeah, I mean, you can do that. But you have to ask yourself too, are those products that are potentially for my customer that's coming in the door now? So it's almost like, think about your shop again, like you have a bass fishing shop. Do you put all your knitting stuff, because you're not doing that anymore, in the corner and say, like, special sale booth or something, or a table or something? You probably wouldn't do that. My only thing is like, do you have a couple products there that are selling on a regular basis? Well, that's something to say, like, maybe you do that and you put them into another category, so they're not being really displayed, in the forefront. But my guess is they're probably not selling that well. So I would probably just stop listing them, like either when they expire, or I would just archive them, do that. Chris, we have a bunch of questions, but we can't answer them all. I mean, we'd be here till 5:00 tonight. I'll answer this one last one, because I think it's a pretty important question and something that we've been talking about quite a bit. Mike says this wasn't really a question. It was his takeaway. But then someone else had brought something up that was close to this. So let me just kind of go through it. My biggest takeaway is the niche shop, multiple products for one niche over multiple shops, rather than one shop full of various things. Yes. Like, that's what we're talking about, right? Like, don't have like a whole bunch of different categories crammed into a general store. Again, these are our recommendations. It doesn't mean that that's what you have to do. But yes, I'm glad that you had that big takeaway, and I'm sure that others did as well. This is the question though. What social media channel is the best to reinforce Etsy shop? Is it Pinterest or YouTube channel, or maybe Instagram? What would you recommend? Me personally, what I would recommend, and it is going to depend on what you are comfortable doing. If you are comfortable, now, if I had to pick between Instagram and Pinterest, I'd pick Pinterest. And the reason why is because Pinterest is a search engine that actually people go to look for ideas for the baby nursery, right? Baby nursery ideas. They're going to come up with things. And if you sell baby nursery decor, you could have it in there and it can be discovered. Instagram, not the way it's going to work. Instagram, you constantly have to feed it. So I would not do that one. I would pick Pinterest. But if I was comfortable on video, or I had someone that was comfortable on video and I could show up on YouTube, I would build a YouTube audience. I would build a YouTube community of people in that niche. I totally would do that, because I think you're connecting at a different level. I think people get to see you. They get to, get to know you a little bit better. And then it becomes easier for people to want to buy from you versus just landing on a Pinterest pin. Right. So that would be my recommendation. Either one is good. But both of them are search platforms as well. So that content will be evergreen. It'll live on forever. So that's my thoughts there. But yeah, I think that is going to wrap it up. Guys, we had a lot of questions, a lot of people submitting their shops to be reviewed. So if you are wanting us to potentially review your shop on an upcoming one of these shop audits, go ahead and put it in the comments. We'll go back to the comments and we will read through them, and we will start to put those in a document so we can go back to them in the future. But yeah, we just wanted to say thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We're almost approaching 2 hours here. This was a lot of fun, and we appreciate you. Do us a favor though, smash that like button if you got a little bit of value today, and that would help us. That would be amazing. And then also, if you are not yet on the growth plan, the annual growth plan on Everbee, well, you can save some money by going to the annual plan. You can save like $120 a year. And you will get our exclusive bonus, which is a 90-minute training where Chris and I taught a private class teaching people how to do niche validation. So really how to find that niche, but then from there, how to validate that niche. And you'll get full access to that 90-minute training absolutely free. So Chris, anything else you want to say before we wrap up officially?
So Scott, I wanted to get one more opinion from you really fast. Mal Floyd said, my most favorited item, it's getting favorited all the time, has never sold. What should I do? And the easy thing would be, okay, yes, let's run some ads to that and see what's happening. But is there another way? If an item has a whole bunch of favorites on it, is there a really low friction way that they could potentially get a sale on that?
Well, I mean, the first thing is like, are they running a sale?
That would be a question, right? And
Right.
that would be kind of the lowest friction way that I can think of would be, let's trigger that, and then let's trigger the automations.
The automation. So is there a coupon that is getting triggered and fired off to the people that favorite your item? And if not, that's a huge way for you to be able to immediately get someone that favorites an item to get an email from Etsy that says basically like, hey, here's a coupon because you favorited this product. We're willing to give you a discount. So that's one way. The other way is if it's not on sale right now and you run a sale, anyone that's favorited it will most likely get a push notification. So that's another way to do that. And then if you're not running ads, I would start running ads because then that'll add more attention. But it sounds like you're already getting the traffic. Now we just got to convert the traffic. Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, guys, this has been awesome. I want to thank Everbee once again and the team. I even saw Cody popped in on us and he said hello. So I want to thank those guys over there for allowing us to come on here and do this training. We appreciate each and every one of you for taking time and watching. We just, really just want you guys to succeed. And we want to just take some of our wisdom that we've learned over the years, not even just from selling on Etsy, but just business in general. And it really does come down to building a cohesive brand, at least in my estimation, because what I want to do is I want to build something that has longevity and something that's not just dependent on one channel. So what we want to do is build a brand that serves a niche, but also has repeat buyers. And that's the holy grail. And that's what we're after. So guys, thank you so much for watching. We truly appreciate you and hanging out with us and submitting all those questions. And we'll definitely be back and we'll do another one soon. All right, guys. So take care, take action. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.